point in bringing them all together, though, that's where one would have to be very careful, right? Because the idea that the doomsday prophecy of AI taking over,
so like activate in the real world, right? Being on the internet, it could be dangerous enough and cause a heck of a lot of unimaginary kind of issues. But when it manifests into the real life, like controlling a drone or a plane or whatever, maybe, that's like a whole other thing now.
Well, you know what? I just thought of this because you made me think of it. I'm thinking if AI gets really good, then I would maybe think that it wouldn't want to blow up all the humans because it would start thinking like the humans, being like, bruh, I'm not going to be messing. That's just too much mess. I don't want to deal with all that junk. Instead of saying all the humans must perish because they're destroying the planet. Meow, 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 meow. I'm not scared of it yet.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily scared. I think we might, as a society, go through some maybe growing pains as any technology. Like for instance, what happens when autonomous driving happens, and truck driving is a huge industry, a huge employer, and especially for someone who may not necessarily have an advanced degree. Someone can easily make $150,000, $200,000 being a truck driver. What happens if that goes away, right? What happens when deliveries go away, right? So there might be some
paralegals, they're paralegals, research. There's just anything that can be, hoovered up like that.
Maybe, and I don't know enough to probably even, I'll be armchair experts on this side of things, but even for truck driving, right? You could argue that's a tough job. I don't know if you ever talk to a truck driver.
Oh my God,
they go to the bathroom. They have buckets when they go to the bathroom because they need
to keep their eyes open for that long. I mean,
they got to keep their eyes open right now. Yeah, there are actual pieces of technology right now. There are cameras in the truck driver's vehicle where they'll see if they're falling asleep and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
You could debate whether the Big Brother or whatever, all that kind of good stuff. But also, it's like, hey, you're falling asleep. Hey,
it could be. There's benefits.
Well, kind of to both your guys' points, what I'm seeing, again, this is the positive outlook of all this stuff, is I'm seeing a gradual, don't get me wrong, it's not like instantaneous.
Sure.
It's sort of a gradual ease into people actually doing something they are good at or they like. Or they can be a genius at.
Yeah.
I personally think everybody's a genius at something or more than one thing.
Or passion.
They don't get the chance to do it. It's like, oh, we gotta have you ring up somebody over at the thing, and that's what your job is. So you gotta do it. But now it's kind of like AI does that junk. I'm gonna go be a friggin' rocket scientologist or something like that and blast off.
Yeah.
And the timing of it is such the popularity of it, should you say, or its moment, comes right on the heels of the pandemic, and people's ideas about what their job is, what their home is, what their relationship with their work is all being blown up and being put back together. And now you've got this sort of like wind blowing in that has all this capability, which also adds a little bit of tons of excitement, clearly, but tons of I'm sure a lot of anxiety for people who do these things for a living.
Yeah, 100%. I think anything anybody says right now is all speculation. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, right? I could sit here and tell you what I think, but at the end of the day, anybody and this is probably true to anything in life, anybody that tells you what's going to happen tomorrow or, the next 10 days or 20 years from now, take it with a grain of salt, right? So who really knows? And I think even, John, back to your point on who's training these models and such, I think one of the problems right now is that AI and these large language chat models are synonymous with open AI, and open AI is trying to be benevolent, is trying to have security around it, all that kind of good stuff. But there are probably thousands of other companies making this. Google's making this. Stanford was able to make a large language model for $800 that you could just download right now and train yourself. So what's stopping some rogue country from developing their own model and shit going crazy?
You are, Leo. You're the freaking
you're the
bro.
They're gonna watch this podcast and be like, you know what?
Friggin' Leo's gonna freaking hook us up. He's gonna tell us how to take a picture on our podcast. He's gonna teach those rogue nations how to behave right.
I hope. Well, they'll see all three of us and be like, you know what? They make sense.
Well, it's so interesting because if you remember when they first released the Bing one,
Yes.
And then there was a New York Times guy who got into a conversation with it, and they started having a romantic thing,
I remember that.
and that was so fascinating because it feels like it went beyond what its original sort of training and or remit, however you programming, whatever you want to call it. Except that maybe it didn't. The fact that clearly these inputs were in there. Like if you got that far, it was going to go there with you. And so then it stopped. And then of course they took it. They
stopped. Yep.
Yeah, they stopped it. So it's clearly controllable. So it's just interesting. It's interesting that either some programmers in there were having some fun, or I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, I haven't followed the story 100%, but I did listen to a couple of follow-ups from journalists, especially like some of the big top tech. I love it. See, I think maybe if AI saw that strawberry, it'd be like, "Yep." Right, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to pause the action.
Yeah, no, you didn't mean to distract us in any way.
Oh, good. So the beautiful thing is
turning into a strawberry.
That could be like, that can turn into a whole other conversation though too.
Smash that like button and subscribe and tell your grandmas and grandpas to do it.